The world unfolds before you like a vast, intricate tapestry, each thread woven with intention, each pattern emerging from causes long set in motion. You stand at the center of this weaving, not as its creator, but as a participant, a witness, a thread yourself. Everything you see, everything you feel, everything you are, arises from causes, some known, some hidden, some so ancient they seem to belong to the very fabric of existence. To understand this is to begin to see the world as it truly is, not as a series of random events, but as a flowing river of interconnected moments, each one shaped by the currents that came before. Consider the tree outside your window. Its roots dig deep into the earth, drawing nourishment from soil enriched by fallen leaves, by the decay of life that came before. Its branches reach toward the sky, shaped by the winds that have blown through this place for centuries. Its leaves, green and vibrant, are the result of sunlight, rain, and the quiet work of photosynthesis, a process older than memory. The tree does not question why it grows. It simply grows, responding to the causes that shape it. And yet in its growth, it becomes a cause itself, offering shade, shelter, and oxygen to the world around it. It is both a product of the past and a creator of the future. You, too, are like this tree. Your thoughts, your actions, your very being are shaped by causes that stretch back through time. The way you speak, the way you love, the way you fear, all of these are influenced by the soil of your past, by the winds of your experiences, by the light of your understanding. And yet, like the tree, you are not bound by these causes. You are not a prisoner of your past, but a participant in the ongoing flow of life. You have the capacity to shape the causes that will shape you, to plant seeds that will grow into the future. But how do you do this? How do you navigate this river of causes and effects, this endless dance of creation and transformation? The answer lies not in trying to control the river, but in learning to flow with it. Just as a leaf does not resist the current, but allows itself to be carried, so too can you find peace in accepting the flow of life. This does not mean passivity, but rather a deep understanding that everything that happens for a reason. Even the most painful moments, the most difficult challenges are part of this flow. They are not punishments, but opportunities to learn, to grow, to become more fully who you are. Think of a time when you faced a great difficulty. Perhaps it was a loss, a failure, a betrayal. In the moment, it may have felt like the world was against you, like the river had turned into a torrent, threatening to sweep you away. But now, looking back, can you see how that difficulty shaped you? Can you see the ways in which it made you stronger, wiser, more compassionate? This is the nature of causes and effects. Even the most painful experiences can become the soil in which new growth takes root. And yet it is not enough to simply accept the flow of life. To truly understand the nature of causes and effects, you must also take responsibility for your own role in this dance. Every thought, every word, every action is a cause, a seed planted in the soil of the future. What kind of seeds are you planting? Are they seeds of kindness, of understanding, of love? Or are they seeds of anger, of fear, of division? The choice is yours, and it is a choice you make every moment of every day. But do not be overwhelmed by this responsibility. The river of life is vast, and you are but one drop in its flow. You cannot control the entire river, but you can control your own actions, your own thoughts, your own intentions. And in doing so, you become a force for good, a cause that creates positive effects in the world around you. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom, to understand that everything has a cause, and to use this understanding to create a life of peace, of compassion, of joy. As you go about your day, take a moment to notice the causes and effects around you. Notice how the sun warms the earth, how the rain nourishes the plants, how the wind carries the seeds of new life. Notice how your own actions ripple out into the world, touching the lives of others in ways you may never fully understand. And as you notice these things, Allow yourself to feel a sense of connection, of belonging, of peace. You are part of this vast, interconnected web of life, and everything you do matters. In the end, the wisdom of causes and effects is not just a philosophy, but a way of being. It is a way of seeing the world with clarity, of living with intention, of finding peace in the flow of life. It is a reminder that you are not alone, that you are part of something greater, that everything you do has meaning. And it is an invitation to live with an open heart, to plant seeds of love and compassion, to become a cause that creates a better world. So take a deep breath and let yourself be carried by the river. Trust in the flow of life, in the wisdom of causes and effects, and know that no matter what happens, you are exactly where you are meant to be. Everything has its cause, and everything has its purpose. And in this understanding, you will find the peace you seek. You sit by the edge of a vast, still lake, its surface unbroken but for the occasional ripple caused by a breeze so gentle it feels like a whisper. The water reflects the sky above, a mirror of infinite blue, and yet, beneath its calm exterior, the lake teems with life. Tiny fish darting through the reeds, unseen currents shifting the silt, and roots of water lilies anchoring themselves in the soft mud. This is the way of all things, a surface stillness that belies the intricate dance of cause and effect beneath. Each ripple, each movement, is the result of something that came before, a chain of events so vast and interconnected that it eludes comprehension. And yet you are part of this dance, a thread woven into the fabric of existence, neither separate from it nor untouched by its rhythms. Consider the pebble in your hand, smooth and cool to the touch. It was not always this way. Once, it was part of a mountain, jagged and rough, shaped by the forces of wind and rain, heat and cold. Over centuries, it broke away, tumbled down streams, and was smoothed by the currents of rivers until it came to rest here, in your palm. Every scratch, every curve, tells a story of transformation, of causes and conditions that brought it to this moment. You too are shaped by forces unseen, by the choices you have made and the circumstances you have encountered. Your life is not a series of random events, but a tapestry woven from countless threads, each one a cause, each one an effect. You may wonder why certain things happen to you, why joy and sorrow seem to follow you like shadows. The Buddha taught that all phenomena arise from causes, that nothing exists independently of the conditions that give rise to it. This is the law of dependent origination, a truth as profound as it is simple. When you look at your life through this lens, you begin to see that even the most painful experiences have their roots in causes, some of which you may understand, others that remain hidden. This is not to say that you are powerless, but rather that you are part of a vast, interconnected web of existence where every action, every thought has consequences. Think of the seasons, how they flow into one another with a rhythm that is both predictable and mysterious. Spring gives way to summer, summer to autumn, autumn to winter, and winter to spring again. Each season is the result of the one before it, and yet each one is unique, shaped by the conditions of the moment. The cold of winter is necessary for the blossoms of spring, just as the heat of summer prepares the earth for the harvest of autumn. In the same way, your life moves through cycles of growth and decline, joy and sorrow, each phase shaped by the one that came before and giving rise to the one that will follow. You may resist this flow, clinging to the seasons you love and pushing away the ones you fear. But resistance only creates suffering, for it denies the natural order of things. When you accept that all things arise from causes, you begin to see that even the most difficult moments are part of a larger pattern, one that is unfolding exactly as it should. This does not mean that you should passively accept everything that happens to you, but rather that you should approach life with a sense of curiosity and openness, understanding that every experience, no matter how painful, has something to teach you. In the quiet of the night, when the world is still and the stars cast their light upon the earth, you may feel a sense of wonder at the vastness of existence. You are but a small part of this infinite universe, and yet you are connected to all of it, bound by the same laws that govern the movement of the planets and the growth of the trees. When you look up at the stars, you are not separate from them. You are made of the same stuff, the same elements that were born in the hearts of ancient suns. Your life, too, is a constellation of causes and effects, a pattern of light and shadow that is constantly shifting and changing. You may seek meaning in the chaos, trying to find a reason for everything that happens to you. But meaning is not something that can be found. It is something that is created moment by moment through the choices you make and the way you respond to the world around you. When you understand that everything has a cause, you begin to see that every moment is an opportunity to shape the future, to plant seeds that will grow into something beautiful. This is the essence of karma, the law of cause and effect that governs all of existence. Every thought, every word, every action is a seed, and the fruits of those seeds will be yours to harvest in the future. You may fear the consequences of your actions, wondering if you are making the right choices. But fear is just another ripple on the surface of the lake, a disturbance that will eventually settle. When you act from a place of awareness and compassion, you can trust that the seeds you plant will bear fruit that is wholesome and good. And when you make mistakes, as you inevitably will, you can learn from them, understanding that even the most difficult experiences are part of your journey, part of the process of growth and transformation. In the stillness of the morning, when the first light of dawn touches the earth, you may feel a sense of renewal, a reminder that each day is a new beginning. The past is gone, the future is yet to come, and all that exists is this moment, this breath. When you bring your awareness to the present, you begin to see that every moment is a cause. Every moment is an effect. You are not separate from the flow of life. You are the flow of life, a river that is constantly moving, constantly changing. You may wonder where this river is taking you, what the destination will be. But the river does not have a destination. It is the journey itself, the movement of water over stones, the sound of it flowing through the land. When you let go of the need to control the river, when you surrender to its current, you begin to feel a sense of peace, a deep knowing that everything is as it should be. This is the wisdom of acceptance, the understanding that all things arise from causes and that you are part of this vast interconnected web of existence. In the end, it is not about finding the answers, but about living the questions, about embracing the mystery of life with an open heart and a curious mind. When you understand that everything has a cause, you begin to see that even the most difficult moments are part of a larger pattern, one that is unfolding exactly as it should. And in this understanding, you find a sense of peace, a deep knowing that you are not alone, that you are part of something vast and beautiful, something that is constantly changing, constantly evolving, constantly becoming. The world unfolds before you like a vast, intricate tapestry, each thread woven with intention, each pattern emerging from causes long set in motion. You stand at the center of this weaving, not as its creator, but as a participant, a witness, a thread yourself. Everything you see, everything you feel, everything you are. It all arises from causes like ripples spreading across the surface of a still pond. The pebble may have been cast long ago, but the water continues to move, and you are here now, feeling its gentle sway. Consider the tree that grows in the forest. Its roots dig deep into the earth, drawing nourishment from soil enriched by fallen leaves. By the decay of what once was, its branches reach toward the sky, shaped by the winds that have blown through the valley for centuries. The tree does not question why it grows, nor does it resist the forces that shape it. It simply is, a living testament to the causes that brought it into being. And so it is with you. Your thoughts, your emotions, your very existence. They are the result of countless causes, some known, many unknown. To resist this truth is to struggle against the current of life itself. You may find yourself asking, why is this happening to me? Or what did I do to deserve this? These questions are natural, born of a mind that seeks to make sense of the world. But the answers, if they come at all, are often elusive. The causes of your present moment may be buried deep in the past, like seeds planted long ago, now sprouting in ways you could not have foreseen. To dwell on the why is to become entangled in a web of endless speculation. Instead, consider the what. What is here now, in this moment? What can you see, feel, hear? What is real, tangible, immediate? In this way, you begin to untangle yourself from the past and step into the present, where life is truly lived. Think of the river that flows through the mountains. It does not stop to ask why it must follow the path it has been given. It does not resist the rocks that block its way, nor does it cling to the calm pools it encounters. It simply flows, adapting to the terrain, carving its course with patience and persistence. The river knows in its own way that it is part of something greater, a cycle that has no beginning and no end. And so it moves, not with resignation, but with a quiet acceptance of its place in the world. You too are part of this cycle. Your life is a river shaped by the causes that have come before and shaping the causes that will follow. To resist this flow is to create suffering, to struggle against the very nature of existence, but to accept it, to embrace it, is to find peace. This does not mean that you must passively endure all that comes your way. It means that you can meet each moment with clarity and compassion, understanding that it is the result of causes beyond your control, yet still within your power to respond. There is a story of a monk who, after years of meditation, finally achieved enlightenment. When asked what had changed, he replied, "Before I chopped wood and carried water. Now I chop wood and carry water." The causes of his actions remained the same, but his relationship to them had shifted. He no longer sought to change the world around him. Instead, he changed the way he saw the world. In this shift, he found freedom. You too can find this freedom. It begins with the recognition that everything has its cause, that every moment is the result of countless factors coming together in a way that is both inevitable and impermanent. This recognition is not a burden, but a liberation. It allows you to let go of the need to control, to understand, to fix. It invites you to simply be, to rest in the flow of life, trusting that it will carry you where you need to go. Imagine the sky on a cloudy day. The clouds come and go, shaped by the wind, the temperature, the moisture in the air. They are not permanent, nor are they under your control. Yet they are beautiful, each one unique, each one a fleeting expression of the forces that created it. Your thoughts and emotions are like these clouds. They arise, they linger, they pass away. They are not you, nor are they permanent. They are simply part of the ever-changing landscape of your mind. To see this is to find peace. It is to understand that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not even your experiences. You are the awareness that observes them, the space in which they arise and dissolve. This awareness is like the sky, vast, unchanging, and always present. It is your true nature, your refuge in the midst of life's storms. As you move through your days, remember this. When you encounter difficulty, when you feel lost or overwhelmed, return to the awareness that is always with you. It is your anchor, your guide, your source of peace. It reminds you that everything has its cause, that everything is part of the flow. And in this reminder, you find the strength to meet each moment with grace, with compassion, with love. The world will continue to unfold, its causes and effects weaving the tapestry of your life. But you and your awareness are free. You are the witness, the observer, the one who sees the pattern without being caught in it. And in this seeing, you find the peace that surpasses understanding. The peace that is your birthright, the peace that is always here, now, waiting for you to return. The world moves as it must, not as you wish it to. This is the first whisper of the wind through the pines, the first ripple on the surface of a still pond. Everything has its cause, its reason, its place in the vast web of existence. You may not see it at first, for the mind is like a clouded sky, obscuring the sun of understanding. But if you pause, if you listen, you will begin to sense the threads that bind all things together, the delicate balance of cause and effect that shapes every moment. Consider the oak tree. It does not grow overnight. It begins as a seed, small and unassuming, buried in the earth. The soil nourishes it, the rain waters it, the sun warms it. Slowly and perceptibly, it stretches its roots and reaches for the sky. It does not lament the time it takes to grow, nor does it resist the storms that bend its branches. It simply is, embodying the truth of its nature. And so it is with you. Every experience, every thought, every emotion is like a drop of rain falling on the soil of your being. Each one contributes to the growth of who you are, shaping you in ways you may not yet understand. You may wonder why certain things happen to you, why life unfolds as it does. The pain of loss, the weight of failure, the sting of betrayal, these are not random occurrences. They are the natural consequences of causes set in motion long ago, like stones cast into a pond, sending ripples across the surface. You cannot undo the past any more than you can stop the rain from falling. But you can choose how to respond, how to meet each moment with awareness and grace. This is not a call to resignation, but an invitation to acceptance. To accept is not to give up. It is to align yourself with the flow of life, to recognize that every experience, no matter how difficult, has its place in the tapestry of your existence. Think of the river. It does not resist the rocks in its path. It flows around them, over them, through them, always moving, always adapting. It does not stop to question why the rocks are there, nor does it lament the obstacles it encounters. It simply flows, finding its way to the sea. And yet over time, the river shapes the rocks, smoothing their edges, carving new paths. In the same way, your challenges shape you, smoothing your rough edges, carving new depths within your soul. They are not enemies to be conquered, but teachers to be embraced. You may feel at times that life is unfair, that the scales are tipped against you. But fairness is a human construct, a lens through which we view the world. Nature does not concern itself with fairness. The storm does not spare the tree because it is beautiful, nor does the sun favor the flower because it is delicate. Everything is as it must be, a result of causes and conditions that stretch back to the beginning of time. To see this is to release the burden of judgment, to let go of the need to control what cannot be controlled. It is to open your heart to the mystery of existence, to the infinite possibilities that arise from each moment. There is a story of a monk who sat by a river, watching the water flow. He noticed that some leaves floated gently on the surface, while others were caught in eddies, spinning in endless circles. He saw that the leaves in the eddies were like the human mind, trapped in cycles of thought, unable to move on. The leaves that flowed freely were like the awakened heart, carried by the current of life, unburdened by attachment or resistance. The monk realized that the river was not the enemy of the leaves in the eddies. It was their teacher, showing them the way to freedom. You too can learn from the river. When you find yourself caught in an eddy of thought or emotion, when you feel stuck in a cycle of suffering, remember that the river is always moving, always offering a way forward. You need only let go to release your grip on what you cannot control and allow the current to carry you. This does not mean that you will never feel pain or face difficulty. It means that you will meet each experience with openness, with a heart that is willing to learn, to grow, to transform. The seasons change, not because they wish to, but because they must. Winter gives way to spring, spring to summer, summer to fall. Each season has its purpose, its beauty, its lessons. And so it is with the seasons of your life. You may long for summer in the midst of winter, or wish for the stillness of winter in the heat of summer. But to resist the season you are in is to miss its gifts, to turn away from the wisdom it offers. Embrace each season, not as a burden, but as a teacher. Let the cold of winter sharpen your resilience, the warmth of summer nourish your joy, The change of fall remind you of impermanence. The renewal of spring awaken your hope. You are part of this vast, interconnected web of life. Every thought, every action, every breath is a thread in the tapestry of existence. You cannot separate yourself from the whole, any more than a wave can separate itself from the ocean. And yet within this unity, there is uniqueness. Each thread has its color, its texture, its place. You are not here by accident. You are here because you must be, because the universe has need of you, just as it has need of the oak tree, the river, the seasons. To see this is to find peace, not the peace of absence, but the peace of presence. It is to rest in the knowledge that everything is as it must be, that you are exactly where you need to be, even if it does not feel that way. This is not a passive acceptance, but an active engagement with life, a willingness to meet each moment with curiosity and compassion. It is to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be, and to find beauty in the unfolding of the unknown. So sit by the river of your life, watch the leaves float by, feel the current beneath you, carrying you forward. Listen to the whispers of the wind, the wisdom of the seasons, and know that everything has its cause, its reason, its place. You are not here to control the river, but to flow with it, to learn from it, to become it. In this there is freedom, in this there is peace. The world unfolds before you like a vast, intricate tapestry, each thread woven with intention, each pattern emerging from causes long since set in motion. You stand at the edge of this tapestry, your hands brushing against its edges, feeling the texture of its threads. Some are smooth, others rough, some are vibrant, others muted. Yet every thread is essential, every pattern meaningful. This is the nature of existence, a dance of causes and conditions that shape the fabric of your life. You may not always see the hand that weaves, but you can trust that it moves with purpose, even when the pattern seems unclear. Consider the forest in autumn. Leaves fall from the trees, not at random, but in response to the subtle shifts in light and temperature. Each leaf's descent is both an end and a beginning, a letting go that makes way for new growth. So too in your life, every event arises from a confluence of causes, every ending a prelude to a beginning. You may find yourself clinging to what is familiar, resisting the natural flow of change. But the forest does not mourn the falling leaves. It accepts their departure with quiet grace. There is a lesson here, whispered in the rustling of branches and the soft crunch of leaves underfoot. To let go is not to lose, but to allow the process of renewal to unfold. You have felt the weight of uncertainty, the ache of questions without answers. Why did this happen? What could I have done differently? These questions swirl like leaves caught in a gust of wind, restless and unrelenting. Yet in the stillness beneath the turbulence, there is a deeper truth waiting to be discovered. Everything has its cause, every moment its place in the grand design. This is not to say that life is predetermined, but rather that it is deeply interconnected, each action rippling out to shape the future. When you pause to observe this interconnectedness, you begin to see that even the most challenging experiences are part of a larger pattern, one that invites growth and understanding. Imagine standing by a still pond, its surface reflecting the sky above. You cast a stone into the water, and ripples radiate outward, disturbing the calm. For a moment, the reflection is distorted, the clarity lost. But soon the ripples subside and the surface becomes still once more. The stone, too, settles at the bottom of the pond, becoming part of its foundation. In this simple act, there is a profound metaphor for the nature of cause and effect. Your thoughts, words, and actions are like stones cast into the pond of your life, creating ripples that touch everything around you. Yet even in the midst of disturbance, there is an underlying stillness, a quiet center where clarity resides. This stillness is always available to you, a refuge from the turbulence of the mind. You may wonder why some stones create ripples that seem to last forever, while others are quickly absorbed. The answer lies in the nature of the stone and the depth of the pond. A heavy stone cast with force will create larger, more enduring ripples. A small stone dropped gently will create only a brief disturbance. So too, in your life, the impact of your actions depends on their weight and the conditions into which they are cast. This is not a call to self-criticism, but an invitation to awareness. When you act with mindfulness, you become a gentle steward of the pond, casting stones with care and intention. There is a season for everything, a time to sow and a time to reap, a time to build and a time to let go. The wisdom of the seasons reminds you that life is not static, but a dynamic process of change and renewal. Just as the farmer trusts in the cycle of the seasons, so too can you trust in the natural flow of your life. There will be times of abundance and times of scarcity, times of joy and times of sorrow. Each season has its purpose, each phase its lessons. When you resist the natural rhythm of life, you create unnecessary suffering. But when you align yourself with its flow, you find a deep sense of peace, a knowing that all is as it should be. In the quiet moments of reflection, you may begin to notice the subtle threads that connect your experiences. A chance encounter, a seemingly insignificant choice, a word spoken in passing. Each of these is a thread in the tapestry of your life, woven together in ways you may not immediately see. These threads are not random. They are the result of causes set in motion long ago. When you trace these threads back to their origins, you begin to understand the interconnectedness of all things. This understanding does not erase the challenges you face, but it imbues them with meaning, transforming them from obstacles into opportunities for growth. There is a story of a monk who tended a garden filled with flowers of every color. Each day, he would water the plants, remove the weeds, and ensure that the soil was rich and fertile. One day, a storm swept through the garden, uprooting many of the flowers. The monk watched as the storm raged, but he did not despair. When the storm passed, he began again, planting new seeds and tending to the damaged plants. Over time, the garden flourished once more beautiful than before. The monk understood that the storm was not an enemy, but a natural part of the garden's life. It was his task to work with the conditions he was given, to nurture the garden through every season. You too are like the monk, tending the garden of your life. There will be storms, moments when everything seems to be uprooted. But these storms are not the end. They are part of the process. When you approach life with the same patience and care as the monk, you begin to see that even the most difficult experiences have their place in the garden. They are the rain that nourishes the soil, the wind that strengthens the roots. Without them, the garden would not be as resilient, as vibrant. As you move through life, you will encounter moments of clarity and moments of confusion, moments of joy and moments of sorrow. Each of these moments is a thread in the tapestry, a stone cast into the pond, a season in the garden. When you accept the causes and conditions that shape your life, you open yourself to a deeper understanding of its patterns. This understanding does not come all at once, but gradually, like the unfolding of a flower. It is a process of seeing, of letting go, of trusting in the natural flow. In the end, the tapestry, the pond, the garden, they are all metaphors for the same truth, that everything has its cause and everything is interconnected. When you embrace this truth, you find a sense of peace that transcends the ups and downs of life. You become like the still pond, reflecting the sky without distortion, or the garden, flourishing through every season. This is not a peace that comes from avoiding challenges, but from understanding their place in the larger pattern. It is a peace that arises from acceptance, from trust in the natural flow of life. And so, as you stand at the edge of the tapestry, let your hands rest gently on its threads. Feel the texture of each moment, the weight of each cause. Allow yourself to be woven into the pattern, to become part of the larger design. In this acceptance, you will find not only peace, but a deep sense of belonging, a knowing that you are exactly where you are meant to be. The world unfolds before you like an intricate tapestry, each thread woven with intention, each pattern arising from causes unseen. You stand at the edge of this vast creation, your feet rooted in the soil of existence, your eyes tracing the lines that stretch into the horizon. Everything you see, everything you feel, everything you are, each has its own cause, its own reason for being. This is not a truth to be grasped with the mind alone, but one to be felt in the marrow of your bones, to be tasted in the quiet moments when the world seems to pause and whisper its secrets. Consider the oak tree that towers above you, its branches reaching skyward as if in prayer. It was once an acorn, a small, unassuming seed nestled in the earth. The rain fell upon it, the sun warmed it, the soil cradled it, and from these causes, the tree emerged. It did not resist the conditions that shaped it. It did not question why it was born in this place at this time. It simply grew, responding to the forces that guided it, becoming what it was meant to be. In its growth, there is a wisdom that speaks to you, a reminder that your life too is shaped by causes and conditions, and that there is a profound beauty in surrendering to this flow. You may find yourself resisting this truth, holding tightly to the idea that you can control the course of your life, that you can bend the world to your will. And yet, the more you struggle against the currents of existence, the more you feel the weight of your resistance. Like a leaf caught in a stream, you are carried along by forces greater than yourself. And in this movement, there is both freedom and peace. To accept this is not to give up, but to align yourself with the natural order of things, to find harmony in the unfolding of your life. Think of the seasons, how they shift and change with a rhythm that is both predictable and mysterious. The spring brings new life, the summer fills the world with light, the autumn paints the landscape in hues of gold and red, and the winter blankets the earth in stillness. Each season arises from the one before it. Each is a cause for the next. You cannot rush the arrival of spring, nor can you hold back the coming of winter. And yet within this cycle, there is a deep sense of balance, a reminder that everything has its time, its place, its reason. Your life, too, is marked by seasons. There are moments of growth and renewal, times of abundance and warmth, periods of change and letting go, and stretches of quiet and reflection. Each of these seasons is shaped by the causes that precede it, and each is a cause for what will follow. To resist this is to deny the very essence of life, to turn away from the wisdom that the world offers. And yet to accept it is to find a sense of peace, a recognition that everything is as it should be, even when it does not align with your desires. In the quiet of your mind, you may wonder why certain things have happened to you, why you have faced the challenges you have, why you have experienced the joys and sorrows that have shaped your life. These questions are natural, and yet they often lead to a sense of unease, a feeling that there must be something more, something different, something better. But consider this. The causes that have shaped your life are as complex and interconnected as the roots of a tree, and to trace them all would be like trying to count the grains of sand on a beach. What matters is not the why, but the what. What you do with the life you have been given, how you respond to the causes and conditions that have shaped you. There is a story of a monk who spent his days tending to a garden, planting seeds, watering the soil, and watching as the flowers bloomed. One day, a storm swept through the monastery, uprooting the plants and scattering the seeds. The monk could have railed against the storm, could have lamented the loss of his garden, but instead he simply began again, planting new seeds, tending to the soil, and watching as new life emerged. In his actions, there was a profound acceptance, a recognition that the storm had its causes, just as the garden had its reasons for being. And in this acceptance, there was peace. You too can find this peace, not by seeking to change the causes that have shaped your life, but by embracing them, by seeing them as part of the larger tapestry of existence. Like the monk, you can begin again, not with resistance, but with openness, with a willingness to respond to the conditions that arise. In this response, there is a sense of freedom, a recognition that you are not bound by the causes of your past, but are free to shape the causes of your future. The river flows without hesitation, carving its path through the land, responding to the contours of the earth. It does not question why it must flow this way or that. It simply moves with the forces that guide it. And yet, in its movement, there is a sense of purpose, a recognition that it is part of something greater than itself. You too are part of this greater flow, shaped by causes and conditions, and yet free to respond to them in your own way. In this response, there is a sense of wholeness, a recognition that everything has its cause, and that in this truth there is peace. As you walk through your life, notice the causes that shape your path, the conditions that guide your steps. Do not resist them, but embrace them, seeing them as part of the larger pattern of existence. In this embrace, there is a sense of harmony, a recognition that everything is as it should be, even when it is not as you would wish. And in this recognition, there is peace, a peace that arises not from the absence of causes, but from the acceptance of them. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast forest, the kind where the trees stretch endlessly in every direction, their roots intertwined beneath the earth, their branches reaching toward the heavens. The air is thick with the scent of moss and damp soil, and the only sound is the soft rustling of leaves in the breeze. As you step into the forest, you notice how every step you take is both a beginning and an ending. The path behind you dissolves into the shadows, while the path ahead unfolds with each footfall, each breath. This is the nature of life, a continuous flow of moments, each one arising and passing away, each one connected to the next in an intricate web of causes and conditions. You may wonder why things happen as they do, why certain events unfold in your life, why joy and sorrow come and go like the tides. The forest, in its infinite wisdom, does not provide answers but invites you to observe. Each tree, each blade of grass, each insect that buzzes through the air exists because of countless conditions. The rain that nourishes the soil, the sun that gives light, the wind that carries seeds, all are part of an unseen dance, a symphony of interdependence. Nothing exists in isolation, and nothing happens without a cause. This is the truth that lies at the heart of Buddhist wisdom, the law of cause and effect, known as karma. As you walk deeper into the forest, you may begin to notice how this truth manifests in your own life. The thoughts that arise in your mind, the emotions that swell in your heart, the actions you take, they are all part of this web. A kind word spoken to a stranger may ripple out into the world, touching lives you will never know. A moment of anger held on to and nurtured may grow into a shadow that darkens your days. Yet this is not a call to judge yourself or others. It is an invitation to see with clarity, to understand that every moment is both a result of what has come before and a seed for what will follow. The forest teaches you about acceptance. The trees do not resist the changing seasons. They do not cling to their leaves when autumn arrives, nor do they despair when winter strips them bare. They stand tall and rooted, knowing that spring will come again, bringing new growth, new life. In the same way, you are invited to meet each moment of your life with openness, to accept what is without resistance. This does not mean passivity or resignation. It means understanding that fighting against the flow of life only creates suffering. The river does not struggle against the rocks in its path. It flows around them, over them, through them, shaping them over time with its gentle persistence. You may find yourself reflecting on the events of your life, the joys and the sorrows, the triumphs and the losses. Each one, seen through the lens of cause and effect, becomes a thread in the tapestry of your existence. The moments of happiness were not random. They were the fruit of seeds planted long ago, seeds of kindness, of effort, of love. The moments of pain, too, were not meaningless. They were the result of causes, some known, some unknown, some within your control, some beyond it. This understanding does not erase the pain, but it can soften its edges, allowing you to see it as part of the larger whole. As you continue your journey through the forest, you may begin to feel a sense of peace settling within you. It is the peace that comes from knowing that everything has its place, that everything arises and passes away according to causes and conditions. It is the peace that comes from accepting the impermanence of all things, from letting go of the need to control, to grasp, to cling. The forest does not try to hold on to its beauty. It simply is, in each moment, as it is. And so, too can you be. You may notice how this understanding changes the way you relate to the world. The person who cuts you off in traffic is no longer just an annoyance. They are a product of their own causes and conditions, their own struggles and fears. The conflict with a loved one is no longer just a source of pain. It is an opportunity to see more deeply, to understand more fully, to grow. Even your own thoughts and emotions become easier to hold, not as enemies to be fought, but as passing clouds in the vast sky of your mind. As the light begins to fade and the shadows lengthen, you find a quiet place to sit among the trees. The forest in its stillness seems to whisper a truth that is both simple and profound. Everything is connected. The breath you take now is part of the same air that has been breathed by countless beings before you. The ground beneath you is the same earth that has supported life for millions of years. The stars that will soon appear in the sky are the same stars that have guided travelers for millennia. You are not separate from this web of life. You are part of it, woven into its fabric, shaped by its patterns. In this moment, you may feel a deep sense of belonging, a sense of being held by something greater than yourself. It is not a feeling that can be grasped or held on to. It is a recognition, a remembering. The forest, the sky, the earth, they are not outside of you. They are part of you, just as you are part of them. This is the truth of interdependence, the truth that everything arises in relation to everything else. As you sit in the stillness, you may begin to see how this truth can transform your life. The need to control, to dominate, to possess begins to loosen its grip. The desire to judge, to separate, to divide begins to dissolve. In their place, a sense of compassion arises, a recognition that everyone and everything is part of the same web, the same dance. This compassion is not something you need to create. It is already within you, waiting to be uncovered, to be awakened. The forest, in its infinite wisdom, does not demand that you understand everything. It simply invites you to be present, to observe, to listen. In this presence, in this listening, you may begin to see the threads that connect all things, the causes and conditions that shape your life. You may begin to understand that everything has its place, that nothing is wasted, that even the most difficult moments are part of the larger whole. As the night deepens and the stars begin to appear, you feel a sense of gratitude welling up within you. It is not gratitude for any one thing, but for the whole of it. The beauty, the pain, the joy, the sorrow. It is gratitude for the opportunity to be here, to be part of this vast interconnected web of life. And in this gratitude, you find a deep and abiding peace, a peace that does not depend on external circumstances, but arises from within. The forest, in its gentle way, has shown you a path. Not a path to follow, but a path to walk, a path to embody. It is the path of acceptance, of understanding, of compassion. It is the path of seeing that everything has its cause, that everything is connected, that everything is part of the larger whole. And as you rise from your seat and begin to make your way back, you carry this understanding with you, not as a burden, but as a gift that can transform your life, moment by moment, breath by breath. The world unfolds before you like a vast, intricate tapestry, each thread woven with intention, each pattern emerging from causes long set in motion. You stand at the center of this ever-shifting design, a participant in its creation, yet often unaware of the hands that guide the loom. To understand that everything has its cause is to step into a deeper awareness, a quiet knowing that life is not a series of random events, but a flowing river of interconnected moments, each one rippling from the last and into the next. This is not a call to control or to predict, but to observe, to accept, and to find peace in the unfolding. Consider the forest in autumn. its leaves turning gold and crimson before they fall. Each leaf's descent is not an accident, but a response to the season's call, the earth's gentle pull, the tree's natural rhythm. You too are part of this rhythm, your life shaped by causes both seen and unseen. The choices you make, the thoughts you hold, the actions you take, these are the seeds from which your reality grows. Yet just as the tree does not resist the falling of its leaves, you need not resist the consequences of your causes. Instead, you can learn to see them as part of a larger dance, a movement that is both personal and universal. In the stillness of your mind, you might begin to notice how your thoughts and emotions arise, not from nowhere, but from the soil of your past experiences, your conditioning, your desires. A moment of anger, a flash of joy, a wave of sorrow, each has its roots, its causes. To trace these roots is not to judge or to blame, but to understand, to bring light to the shadows of your inner world. When you see that your anger arises from fear, your joy from connection, your sorrow from loss, you begin to untangle the threads of your being. You see that you are not your emotions, not your thoughts, but the awareness that holds them, the space in which they arise and pass away. This understanding can be liberating, but it is not always easy. To accept that everything has its cause is to accept responsibility for your life, not as a burden, but as an opportunity. It is to see that you are both the gardener and the garden, the weaver and the woven. You cannot change the seeds that have already been planted, but you can tend to the soil, water it with compassion, and nurture the growth of what is to come. This is not a call to perfection, but to presence, to the simple act of showing up for your life as it is, moment by moment. In the quiet of your heart, you might begin to sense the interconnectedness of all things, the way your actions ripple out into the world, touching lives you may never see. A kind word, a moment of patience, a gesture of love. These are causes that create effects far beyond your knowing. Just as a single pebble dropped into a still pond sends waves in every direction, so too do your choices shape the world around you. This is not a call to grand gestures, but to small, intentional acts, to the recognition that every moment is an opportunity to plant seeds of kindness, of understanding, of peace. Yet even as you plant these seeds, you must also learn to let go. The farmer does not dig up the soil to check on the growth of the seeds. He trusts in the process, in the natural order of things. You too must learn to trust, to release your grip on the outcomes, to allow life to unfold in its own time. This is not passivity, but a deep surrender, a recognition that you are part of something greater, a flow that cannot be controlled, but can be embraced. In the silence of your meditation, you might begin to feel this flow, the way it carries you forward, not in a straight line, but in a spiral, returning you again and again to the same lessons, the same truths, but with deeper understanding each time. You see that life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived, a journey of discovery, of growth, of becoming. And in this journey, you are never alone. The causes you set in motion, the choices you make, the love you give and receive, these are the threads that connect you to all of life, to the vast unfolding tapestry of existence. So, as you move through your days, remember that everything has its cause. The challenges you face, the joys you experience, the relationships you nurture, all are part of this intricate web of causes and effects. You cannot change the past, but you can shape the present, and in doing so, you shape the future. This is not a call to control, but to create, to live with intention, with awareness, with an open heart. And as you do, you will find that life becomes not a series of random events, but a flowing river, carrying you gently, inevitably, toward the ocean of your true self. In this ocean, there is no separation, no division, only the endless dance of cause and effect, the eternal flow of life. And in this flow, you are free, free to be, to become, to embrace the beauty and the mystery of your existence. So, take a deep breath and let yourself be carried by the river. Trust in the process, in the causes you set in motion, in the love that guides you. And know that in the end, everything is as it should be. Everything is part of the dance. Everything is perfect, just as it is. The world unfolds before you like a vast, intricate tapestry, each thread woven with intention, each pattern emerging from causes long set in motion. You stand at the center of this ever-shifting design, a participant in its creation, yet often unaware of the hands that guide the loom. To understand that everything has its cause is to step into a deeper awareness, a quiet knowing that life is not a series of random events, but a flowing river of interconnected moments, each one rippling from the last and into the next. This is not a call to control or to predict, but to observe, to accept, and to find peace in the unfolding. Consider the forest, dense and ancient, where every tree grows from a seed, every seed carried by the wind or dropped by a bird. The towering oak does not question why it stands where it does. It simply grows, reaching toward the sun, its roots deepening into the earth. It does not resent the soil it finds itself in, nor does it envy the tree that grows in richer ground. It simply is. And yet its existence is the result of countless causes: the rain that fell, the soil that nourished, the sunlight that warmed. In the same way, your life is shaped by causes, some within your control, many beyond it. To resist this truth is to struggle against the current of a river, exhausting yourself in the effort. To accept it is to float, to let the water carry you, trusting that it knows the way. You may wonder then about the moments that feel unjust, the events that seem to defy reason. Why does suffering exist? Why do some seeds fall on rocky ground, while others find fertile soil? The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, from the desire for things to be other than they are. When you cling to an expectation, when you demand that life conform to your will, you create a tension within yourself, a dissonance that disturbs your peace. But when you release that grip, when you allow life to be as it is, you find a quiet space within, a stillness that remains unshaken by the storms of circumstance. Think of the seasons, how they turn with a rhythm that is both predictable and mysterious. Winter gives way to spring, spring to summer, summer to autumn, and autumn back to winter. Each season has its purpose, its beauty, its challenges. The cold of winter is not a punishment, nor is the warmth of summer a reward. They are simply part of the cycle, each one necessary, each one arising from causes that stretch back to the beginning of time. In the same way, the seasons of your life, the joys, the sorrows, the triumphs, the losses, are not random. They are the result of causes, both seen and unseen, and they too are part of a larger cycle. To resist the winter of your life is to deny its necessity, to miss the lessons it brings. To embrace it is to find peace, even in the cold. You may ask then, what is the cause of your own suffering? Is it the events themselves or your reaction to them? The Buddha taught that it is not the arrow that pierces you that causes the greatest pain, but the second arrow, the one you shoot yourself, the one of anger, of resentment, of self-pity. When you can see the first arrow for what it is, a moment in the flow of causes and conditions, you can choose not to shoot the second. You can choose to meet the moment with acceptance, with compassion, with an open heart. This is not a passive surrender, but an active engagement with life as it is, a willingness to meet each moment with clarity and grace. Imagine a leaf floating on the surface of a still pond. It moves with the gentle currents, turning this way and that, but it does not resist. It does not try to change its course, nor does it struggle against the water. It simply floats, carried by forces greater than itself, and yet it is not powerless. It is part of the pond, part of the ecosystem, part of the larger whole. In the same way, you are part of the flow of life, shaped by causes, yet also shaping them. Your thoughts, your actions, your intentions, They are like ripples on the surface of the pond, spreading out, touching everything around you. To understand this is to see your place in the world, to recognize your interconnectedness, to find peace in the knowledge that you are both a part of the flow and the flow itself. There is a story of a monk who, after years of meditation, finally achieved enlightenment. When asked what had changed, he replied, "Before, I chopped wood and carried water. Now I chop wood and carry water." The causes of his actions had not changed, but his relationship to them had. He no longer struggled against the tasks of daily life. He no longer sought to escape them or to find meaning beyond them. He simply did what needed to be done, with a heart that was open, a mind that was clear. This is the essence of understanding that everything has its cause, to live fully in each moment, to meet it with acceptance, to find peace in the flow of life. You may not always see the causes that shape your life, but they are there, like the roots of a tree hidden beneath the surface. To trust in this is to trust in life itself, to believe that even in the darkest moments, there is a reason, a purpose, a lesson. This is not to say that life is always fair or that suffering is always justified. It is simply to say that life is as it is, and that within its flow, there is a wisdom that surpasses understanding. To align yourself with this wisdom is to find a peace that is not dependent on circumstances, a peace that comes from within. So, as you move through your days, as you encounter the causes and conditions that shape your life, remember the forest, the seasons, the leaf on the pond. Remember that everything has its cause and that within this truth, there is a freedom, a release from the struggle, a return to the natural flow of life. You do not need to control the river. You only need to trust it, to let it carry you, to find peace in its currents. And in that peace, you will find yourself, not as a separate being, but as part of the whole, a thread in the tapestry, a leaf on the pond, a tree in the forest, rooted in the earth, reaching toward the sky. The world unfolds as a vast tapestry, woven with threads of cause and effect, each strand pulling gently on the next, a seamless flow of interconnectedness. You stand at the edge of this tapestry, observing, questioning, perhaps even resisting the patterns that emerge. But beneath the surface of your resistance lies a quiet truth, a truth as ancient as the earth itself. Everything has its cause, and everything has its place. This is not a statement of predestination or fate, but rather an invitation to see the world as it is, to step into the river of existence and let its currents carry you without struggle. Imagine the forest in autumn, its canopy ablaze with the colors of transition. Each leaf, once green and vibrant, now turns to gold, to crimson, to amber. You might wonder why this leaf falls before that one, why this branch bends under the weight of the wind while another remains steadfast. Yet the forest does not question. It simply is. The falling of the leaves is not a tragedy, but a necessary part of the cycle, a surrender to the rhythms of nature. In the same way, your life unfolds according to causes and conditions that are often beyond your control. To resist this flow is to cling to the branches of a tree in a storm, exhausting yourself in the effort to remain still. But to accept is to become like the leaf, trusting in the wisdom of the wind. Consider the lotus, rooted in the mud yet blooming above the water's surface. Its beauty is not in spite of its origins, but because of them. The mud, dark and seemingly unremarkable, is the very cause of its radiance. In your own life, the moments of struggle, the times of confusion and pain, are not separate from your growth. They are the soil from which your understanding emerges. When you look back, you may see how each hardship, each disappointment, was a seed planted in the fertile ground of your experience. And now, with the passage of time, those seeds have blossomed into wisdom. There is a stillness that comes with understanding this truth, a quieting of the mind that allows you to see beyond the surface of things. When you stop fighting against the current of your life, you begin to notice the subtle ways in which cause and effect shape your reality. A kind word spoken in passing ripples out into the world, touching lives you may never know. A moment of impatience, too, has its consequences, leaving traces in the hearts of those around you. This is not a call to perfection, but a reminder of your inherent power, your ability to shape the world through your thoughts, your words, your actions. In the silence of your own heart, you may begin to see how every experience, every encounter, is a thread in the larger pattern of your existence. The people who enter your life, the challenges that arise, the joys and sorrows that color your days, all of these are part of a greater whole, a tapestry that is still being woven. You may not always understand the reasons behind the events of your life, but you can trust that they are part of a larger design, one that is unfolding with a wisdom beyond your comprehension. There is a story told in Buddhist tradition of a farmer whose horse runs away. His neighbors come to console him, but he simply says, "Who knows what is good or bad?" The next day, the horse returns, bringing with it a herd of wild horses. His neighbors congratulate him, but again he says, "Who knows what is good or bad?" His son tries to tame one of the wild horses in his throne, breaking his leg. The neighbors return to offer their sympathy, but the farmer remains calm, saying once more, "Who knows what is good or bad?" Soon after, war breaks out, and all the young men of the village are conscripted, all except the farmer's son, who cannot fight because of his broken leg. The story ends with the farmer's quiet reflection. Who knows what is good or bad? This tale is a gentle reminder that life's events are not always what they seem. What appears as misfortune may, in time, reveal itself as a blessing. What seems like a stroke of luck may carry hidden challenges. The farmer's wisdom lies in his acceptance, his willingness to see beyond the immediate and trust in the larger flow of life. You too can cultivate this perspective, not by striving for control, but by releasing your grip and allowing life to unfold. In the stillness of your own heart, you may begin to see how everything is connected, how every cause has its effect, and every effect becomes the cause of something new. The rain falls, nurturing the earth. The earth gives rise to the seed. The seed grows into the tree. The tree bears fruit, and the fruit nourishes the body. The body returns to the earth, completing the cycle. This is the nature of existence, a continuous flow of cause and effect, a dance of interconnectedness that is both simple and profound. As you walk through the world, you may find yourself caught in the web of your own thoughts, your own judgments. You may wonder why certain things happen, why certain people behave as they do. Yet beneath these questions lies a deeper understanding, a recognition that every action, every event arises from a cause. When you see this clearly, you can release the need to judge, to categorize, to label. You can simply observe with the curiosity of a child and the wisdom of the ages. In the quiet moments of your life, when the world around you is still, you may feel the presence of something greater, something that transcends the boundaries of your understanding. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom, the recognition that everything has its cause and everything has its place. It is not a call to passivity, but an invitation to live with intention, to act with compassion, to see the world with open eyes and an open heart. And so, as you continue on your journey, remember the forest, the lotus, the farmer. Remember the threads of cause and effect that weave the tapestry of your existence. Trust in the flow of life, in the wisdom of the river that carries you forward. And in this trust, you may find a peace that is not dependent on circumstances, a stillness that is not shaken by the winds of change. This is the gift of understanding, the gift of seeing the world as it truly is. And it is yours whenever you are ready to receive it.